What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now today I'm delighted to say that I've got a brand new subreddit for all of you, a subreddit that I'm yet to cover on my channel. It's r/TalesFromRetail. Now if you've never heard of this subreddit, it pretty much does what it says on the tin. It's very similar to Entitled Parents. It's just entitled things and stupid things that happen with stupid customers in retail. Today's first story pretty much epitomizes what this subreddit is all about, with a stupid lady deciding it would be a good idea to test out her new pepper spray while still in the store. Customer decides to test her new pepper spray in the checkout line. This happened yesterday. A customer came up with her 6-year-old kid. As I'm checking her out for the various items on the counter, she decides to grab the pepper spray that she was purchasing and test it out by spraying it on the floor. She gave the bottle several good spritzes before I realized what was happening, but it was already too late. My eyes start watering, she starts coughing. I somehow managed to finish up the transaction and get her out the door. The worst part was that my manager wouldn't let me close down my till for a little while to let the spray dissipate. So I had to stand there for the next several hours in the fumes of this lady's stupidity. I really need to find another job. And there we go, guys. If you didn't know what this subreddit was all about before this video started, now you do. How stupid can some people be? And now moving on to our second story. I'm not leaving here without the Wii. Yes, you are. It's been over a decade since I worked in retail, but reading this sub lately has brought back so many memories, and I thought I'd start to share. I worked in a store selling DVDs, CDs, games, vinyl, and a bunch of other entertainment-related stuff. This story took place the day after the launch of the Nintendo Wii. Wow, that is a long time ago. I actually remember getting a Wii pretty close to that launch, and that must have been, what, I don't know, 12 years ago? Okay, no, 15 years ago. Wow, that is a long time. I now feel very old. Anyway, on with the story. Our store had guaranteed that if you had pre-ordered a Wii by a certain date, then you'd get one. If you'd not pre-ordered, then it was first come, first served for the remaining stock. Nobody was able to place an order or reserve one after the release day, as we could not guarantee when we would get stock back in. The day after the release, we'd just opened, and I was standing by the entrance of the door to greet customers, when this big, angry-looking guy comes charging through the door straight up to me. "Do you have any Nintendo Wiis in stock?" "Hi, I'm sorry, we sold out of the stock we had yesterday." On hearing this, the customer stamped his foot and slammed his shopping bags against his side. I knew at that point drama was about to unfold. "Right, well, I want to pre-order one." "I'm sorry, we can no longer take pre-orders as it's now after release day, and we're unable to take orders as we cannot guarantee when we'll receive stock back in, since the product is in such high demand." "That's a lie." "Wait, what?" "You're lying to me. I was in here 2 weeks ago and I was told if I pre-ordered, I was guaranteed one on the date of release." At this point, I'm thinking maybe I've misunderstood and he has in fact pre-ordered. So I make an attempt at clarifying. "Oh, are you here to collect a pre-order? Do you have your order slip and receipts?" "No, I don't have a slip. You should have one for me because I inquired about wanting one weeks ago. Either give me one now or order one for me. My son wants one." That's not how it works, unfortunately. We only pre-order with a deposit. If you've not paid a deposit, then we do not have a pre-order for you. I cannot order you one either, as our system will not let us. "Oh, this is ridiculous. Get me a manager right now, as you are obviously incapable of sorting this mess out. I'm not leaving here without the Wii." As angry as this guy already was, he was about to get even angrier, as I now had to inform him that I was in fact the manager on duty and the only one around. Now, I was a supervisor who did opening and closing. Supervisors were designated managers on duty when there were no real grown-ups around. The guy flipped out, pointing his finger in my face, calling me a liar, telling me there is no way some little girl was a manager. Just as I was starting to worry that this guy was about to physically assault me, something wonderful happened. I felt something brush over the top of my shoulder from behind, and suddenly, the customer's face dropped and he was being dragged towards the door. Unbeknown to me, our security guard had just come on shift and was just entering the shop floor when he heard the customer screaming at me. He walked straight up from behind me, grabbed the guy by his neck, and dragged him outside backwards, telling him, "You're done." Once outside, the guy stood between me and the security guard, almost foaming at the mouth with rage for a good minute before turning and storming out of sight. Ooh, sounds to me like you got pretty lucky, OP. I completely agree. That looked like it was going downhill there. Ultimately, though, the guy in question also got lucky because the security guard stopped him doing something like assaulting you, which could have put him in so much trouble. Like, think about it. If there was no security there and the guy kept getting more and more angry and actually ended up assaulting you, that could have been his life over. So, genuinely, he has a lot to thank the security guard for, despite the fact that he manhandled him out of the store. Not gonna lie, though, guys, the Wii is up there for me as probably one of my favorite ever. You know what? It is my favorite ever console. I mean, we and my friends genuinely still use Wiis now. Like, you know, we play this drinking game with a Mario Kart, and you have to pretty much complete the race whilst also drinking a pint, and you have to finish your pint by the time you finish the race. Look, what I'm trying to say is the Wii is probably the most versatile console ever. You could play with mates, you could play on your own, so many different amazing games. What a console. Shout out Nintendo. If any of you still have Wiis and still play on them, let me know, because by the way, I know there's new ones and all, but I mean the classic one, the old Nintendo Wii from 2006, by the way, is when it came out. If you still use that console, you're a real G, and I love you. That's all I'm going to say. Now moving on to our third story of today's episode. Customer gets mad that I don't know her PIN number. Okay, so if you're in the UK, you'll know that the contactless card limit is going up to £100. Is it actually? I didn't actually know that. Thank you, OP, for letting me know. I'm not sure when. It hasn't yet. And this is what this story is about. The current limit is £45. So, this lady and her equally dim husband come up to my till. I'm 17 and I work in retail as a weekend job. Their shopping comes to around £70. I can't quite remember, but it was definitely more than 45. The lady tried to tap her card. I tell her that unfortunately, the contactless limit is £45, so she's gonna need to insert her card. She says, "No, it went up to £100, and attempts to tap it again. I tell her that it was announced that the limit is going up to £100, but it hasn't yet. And even if it had, our tills don't support it yet. She then says that she doesn't know her PIN number. I was like, okay, well, do you have another way to pay? Then she starts raising her voice at me. She asked me to tell her what her PIN number is. Since you're the one that's making me put a number in, you can tell me what it is. I tell her that unfortunately, I don't know her PIN number. She can either find another way to pay, put some stuff back, or leave the shop. She then says, I know my PIN number will come up on your screen when I put my card in, so tell me what it is, and claims that I'm lying about the limit not being £100 yet. Anyway, she asks to speak to my manager, who comes over and tells her the same things I just told her. Best part of the whole story, she pulls out a wad of cash and gives it to me. So it wasn't like she didn't have another way to pay. Also, her husband just stood there like a lemon the entire time this was happening. Well, hey, not too much I can really say about that story, just that lady seems a little bit dumb. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter about like the limit anyway, whether it's gone up or not. If the person behind the till is telling you, no, this isn't gonna work, just listen to them and find another way to pay. Also, she has loads of cash on her, which I'm pretty sure like hardly anyone does these days, right? So why not just try and use that cash? If that was me and I had that amount of cash on me, I'd actively be wanting to get rid of it because I hardly ever use cash. I don't really want to own cash, so just spend it, get rid of it. It's better than using a card anyway, in my opinion, so I don't really know why she wouldn't just use that in the first place. But overall, yeah, like if someone in a shop is telling you, no, your payment isn't working, don't say, no, it is working, because it isn't. And now moving on to our final story of today's episode. Today, I made a customer cry. I work in photo finishing, and I was helping a friendly lady who wanted prints off of her phone. She offhandedly mentioned that she recently lost all the photos on her phone, so she was only able to get prints from the last few weeks. I found it odd that the photos would just disappear, but the phone was still working. She insisted, despite being a technology illiterate, that she didn't accidentally delete them. She also offhandedly mentioned that she thought her phone had a memory card in it. This needed further investigation. I fully expected her to not have a micro SD card, since many older folk call the SIM card a memory card. But lo and behold, there was one inside. I put the card into one computer and it didn't show up at all. So I tried our Windows PC instead and it told me the disk was unformatted, likely corrupted somehow by her cheap off-brand Android. I didn't want to get her hopes up, but since Windows was able to see it, I thought there might be a chance. So I took a deep breath, formatted it, and threw it into our recovery software. I was able to recover 90% of the photos and video on that card. The lady had been waiting for her prints anyway, so I wait for her to come around to my computer and take a look. She looked at the photos on the screen and literally started bawling. It was all her most important pictures. Her grandson's graduation, her dog that had passed a few months ago, family trips, years worth of pictures that weren't backed up anywhere. In the end, she bought a new micro SD and I gave her a DVD of the pics at no charge. After paying, she ran behind the counter and gave me a big hug. I later found out that she hand-wrote my boss a letter and said it was the best customer service she'd ever had. Today has been a good day. And there you go, guys, a nice little wholesome one to end it. You see, this subreddit is not all about entitled people and things that go wrong and annoying customers. It's just tales from retail in general. You can get some horrible ones, like we've seen, people testing out pepper spray inside, and then you can get some amazing ones like this, which is, you know, making me feel all warm and fuzzy, and I hope it made you feel good too. I mean, as for this story, OP, you're absolute legend. Absolute legend, because someone who didn't care as much as you, or, you know, just was like not bothered, wouldn't have gone to all that trouble to try and find these ladies' photos that clearly mean so much to her. You've ultimately like made her month, made her year. It's so good what you've done there. Incredible stuff. And yeah, I guess it's just a lesson to us all to help out people who may not be as good with technology as you might be. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Tales from Retail, my first ever episode on this subreddit. Please do comment down below, drop a like on this video if you want to see more from this subreddit, because as I said, it is completely new. None of you have seen it from me before, I don't think, anyway. And yeah, I've got no real idea if you guys want to see more unless you tell me. So please tell me, I'll appreciate it. If you do want more from me right away, please do check out the playlist on screen of all my videos. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and I will see you all soon with a brand new video.